Okay, Torah, Parshas Lecha, page 24. We're in the middle of the first column over there, that Nu Maimer. Okay, now the Rabbi explaining there's a lot of pareches, there's a lot of curtains. And he says that whatever goes on in the Beis HaMikdash is because that's what it is at night, in Lamaila. He says at night the gates were closed, because Lamaila, because the intellect is not revealed at night when you sleep, your intellect is not functioning 100%. So then the digestive system, which is the chitzeniistic level, the external levels, they'll wake up to function. Okay, so we'll start in the first column, but in the second, it's equal to the second column where it starts with new paragraph. Okay, but in the first column. So he says, and during the day the gates of Gan Eden open, because during the day is a revelation of chesed, unlike night, which is a revelation of Gura. We learned in the past, why is somebody, God forbid, is sick? They feel worse at night than they do during the day. So because Chassidus in Kabbalah, it's very simple, because during the day is revealed the attribute of chesed. So because chesed is revealed, you don't feel so bad. At night there's a level of Gvura, so therefore you feel worse because Gvura is more severity. So he said, but during the day, there's this Gaber's Chasadim Chesed Kel Kol Hayom. It's a revelation of Chesed the whole day. Therefore, Nimshach Azam Shacha Pnimis. Therefore, the gates are open because the Pnimius of Elokus is revealed. The Alpha became nevertheless, even though the gates are open, there's still a curtain. Yesh Pareches Parsev Nimshach Ham Shacha. And this revelation of Chesed, which is revealed during the day, comes through them, so it's a parsev through the blockage of the curtain. Parsev Bechinas Chashmal. And like you said before, that's the letter of Chashmal. Chash and Mol. Silent and talking. Meaning hidden and revealing. Shemichitzeni Sabina. Which comes from the external level of Bina that encompasses the Yutzviras Sazah and the Yutzviras of Malchus, like the Kosnos Ervei Al Bishem. Like Hashem made for Adam and Chava, He made this Kosnos right after they realized they weren't wearing clothing after the Chatei Tadas. So it says Hashem made them Kosnos Or, but this Kosnos Or is a covering. Any way you look at it, it covers their skin. So it's a blockage. That there shouldn't be from them a unique nourishment to evil. And under the person is shoes, right? The bottom thing you wear is a shoe. Okay, but the person's body created the image of Hashem. The pearl, that's why we have clothes and we have shoes. Okay, shoes. Okay, a person stands upright, so the head's on top. Okay, all those giluyim have to go through parsa. It's too great to be revealed as is. So you need to wear clothing. Now at the bottom of the person, they wear shoes. What is a shoe? A shoe is a curtain between the person's lowest level, the foot, which is Malchus, right? Atzilus, Malchus is the lowest level. From Malchus going to the next level, to the earth and below, so that it needs a covering of a parsa. Because if Atzilus itself would be revealed in Bria, then Bria wouldn't be Bria, it would be Atzilus, right? Like we learned in the other Maimer. So therefore the person has clothes, which is a level of parsa, to reveal the intellect and the emotions of the person. At the same time, the person needs shoes as the parsa, and that's why shoes are a thicker blockage than clothing are. Because then you're going from one world to the next world versus within the same world.
What about the head, Rosh? Does it need to be covered?
No.
Cover it with a kippah.
And he says, now is a level Mosach Hamar ben Atzil Sabriya. Or Kamesh Pirish Rashi Litznius. Rashi says, why did Hashem make him garments? Kosnos Or, right after the Chet, for modesty purposes. Meaning Shliya Kol Gili Or Shel Atzil Babriya. Because Hashem didn't want that the whole revelation of Atzilus should come into Bria as it is in Atzilus, because then again it wouldn't be Bria, it would be Atzilus.
Hashem made them.
Yeah. He was a tailor too, God. He did a lot of things. He was a tailor.
Why was it necessary for Hashem?
That's what he's saying. This, in a spiritual sense, because this is the curtain that Hashem is creating between the higher levels and the lower levels of Elokus. And he says, "V'chein b'chol elam shebabriya nasin gam ken chashmal michitzein sabina." Therefore, it becomes the level of chitzein sabina, which is the encompassing level of zun, until it becomes shuz, which is the level of the parsi going into the next level. Okay, so you skip until the next column, second line. Skip the parentheses. L'havin inyan chashmal ma'anyoni. To understand what this level of chashmal means, like we say, chashmal actually is a revelation of godliness. But chashmal, that Alter Rebbe explained before, is two words. Chash, mal. Chash means to hide, and mal means to reveal. So he says, we understand it from our own body. When you have a feeling, okay, the feeling does not reveal the entire intellect as is. Why not? Because if the midah, the emotion, would reveal the intellect, then it would be intellect, it wouldn't be feelings. On the contrary, feelings block intellect. That's why when somebody gets very excited, emotional, you say, cool it intellectually. So then you wouldn't have the feeling as the feeling. All it would be intellect. Nevertheless, even though the intellect is not directly revealed in the midah, but nevertheless it affects the midah, because the midah, the emotion, is based on the seichel. Immature people have childish midas versus intellectual people that have intellectual midas. So the midah still affects, the intellect still affects the person, the midah, but it only affects it indirectly. Because if the intellect would reveal itself into the midah, then you wouldn't have a midah, you'd only have the intellect. It's called Shemal Kreshli Yanik of Chitzon Sham Midas Yochel Yisachil Sitrachra. Because midas themselves, because they come down, like you said, the whole union of midas is a revelation. Midas, you see, is revealed. So he said, if it becomes revealed too far down, it can go into evil. Like it says, Lech Avram Shiyatzmenu Yishmol. Not like Avram Avinu, that what happened from Avram Avinu, he became chesed of klipa. Yishmol is chesed of klipa. Avram is chesed of kedusha, but he came down too far down because he didn't limit himself. He was unlimited chesed. Unlimited chesed goes to everybody, even the ones that don't deserve it. Or if you give chesed, it's going to be detrimental and dangerous to them. But Avram created Yishmol. The same thing, the whole concept of the Shvira Sakelim of Tehu is also, we learned in the Midas. Therefore, it has to be in a way of Chashmal, which means Chosh, which is the hidden level, that evil shouldn't have a nourishment from Midas, only that side is Tzipor, only like here in fingernails, based on the need of what they actually need. Meaning like this. When midas come down, if the actual midah comes down to evil, evil is going to get very powerful. Like Yishmol was a very powerful klipa of chesed, but chesed of klipa, not chesed of kedusha. So therefore, what you need to do is to make sure the hashpah, the sustenance from midas to the lower levels, only goes through like the fingernails and the hair. What's the fingernails and the hair? You cut your hair, it doesn't hurt. You cut your nails, it doesn't hurt. Why? If you pull the hair, it does hurt. The hair and the nails are getting nourished from the body. But it's such a limited amount of chayas from the body that when you cut your hair, you cut your nails, it's not going to hurt. That's why, by the way, Tzipanayim and hair represent klipa. Number one, that's why you have to cut them. Hashem could have made that we have the nails stay, like the fingers don't grow when you cut them. Hashem could have made the nails should, grow a certain size, and that's it, and stay there. Or the hair, right? But Davish just says no. The hair grows, the nails grow, and you have to cut them off, right? Long nails, the Torah says, is despicable. Long hair, the Torah says, is despicable. Because that's the unique of evil. And that's why when you finish cutting your hair and nails, you have to wash nagavatsa. Why? Because you just dealt with the level of klipa.
How did we get Chashmal in here? How did the Alter Rebbe introduce Chashmal?
That was in the other mimer.
Okay.
Because he says the milah is mol, is revelation. But there's a level of chashmal, chash hidden, and mol milah. Okay. So he says, Upish chashmal. So what's the union of chashmal? Shamal b'shluzun. It comes into the level of zonuk, meaning into the midas. Bari chitzoni is eslam. V'alfa pishkein. But nevertheless, even though it comes down all the way down, but like we learned about Teo and Tikkun, because it comes in the level of Bina. Okay, so he says, he explains it's not like this. Kamei hamoshul, like an analogy, a moshul, right? A proverb. Shulavush la nimshal, which is an analogy for the one you think you're giving the analogy to. Okay, you want to explain a concept of spiritual revelation called or, right? So you're going to give an analogy from sunlight. That's right. You give a mashal of or of kedusha from sunlight. So the physical words that you're using in saying the mashal have really nothing to do with the spiritual level of order that you're trying to explain. He says, "Hengash neged nimshul, v'levush levad nimshul." Okay, but mikoma came nevertheless. Sheir shamoshul, who gavaya ma'id nailam. It's the moshul comes from a higher source than the nimshul. He says, "Shein kol adam yacholem mishal el mishli shleimai." Shleima was able to give a proper moshul, or like the Gemara says, "I'm an almer tlosa shmaitza, but tilsa mitle." Okay, that Meir used to. That the Gemara says he was batla meishlim mishalim. Rameir used to get. The Gemara says in Saita that when Rameir died, the people that gave mishalim died, or mishlei ishlem hamelech's mishalim. So yeah, everybody today gives a mashal, but the real Torah mashal, you needed to have a super brilliant person like Shlomo Melech or Reb Meir, that the Gemara says about Reb Meir, that he was so smart. The Gemara says the Chacham couldn't understand Reb Meir's brilliance, and therefore, by the way, when is Reb Meir Rabbi Yehuda, the halacha like Rabbi Yehuda, Reb Meir Rabbi Yossi, halacha like Rabbi Yossi. Why isn't the halacha like Reb Meir? Because he was so smart, the Chacham couldn't understand it. And Torah has to be understood. If you can't understand it, you can't rule like him. Okay? So therefore, in other words, it's very simple English. In order to explain a very deep concept simply, you need to have super brains. To take the deepest inyonim in Chassidus, let's say, to explain it for the masses, you need to be super brilliant. By the way, that's what everybody writes in Chassidim, right? About, the great Chassidim. About the Rebbe's greatness was, the Rebbe took deepest inyonim of Chassidus, of Ayin Beis and Samach Vav and all those inyonim, and he brought it down, look at the Sichas, in a way that everybody can understand it. That's because the Seichel is so great, it could come all the way down. So even though it's coming all the way down into a physical mashal, which l'chayra is physical, nevertheless, the mashal comes from a lofty level higher than the nimshal, and therefore it can bring it down to that level. Shagol gaver yachol something sichel b'mashal, she'emuchuv neged nimshal mamish, that the mashal and the nimshal can correspond with one another. You know, there's a Yiddish expression. If it's felt in Asbara, felt in Havana, if you can't explain it properly, that means you don't understand it. Because if you really understand it, you should be able to explain it. He then, because if a person's smart, he can only understand the seichel. Or if he'll say a mashul, it won't be a proper mashul. But that's the level of chashmal. What does it mean? The level of chashmal. Shulavush luzun. It's the mashul for zun. Kislapshis haseichel b'mashul, like seichel comes into the mashul. Shifei shanim shechmi bina, because chashmal comes to the level of bina, which is above midas, but then it becomes the levush of zun and lematmem k'meish b'mashul. In other words, chashmal is a very lofty level, but it comes down, as he said before, into the garments of midas. So dafka, because it comes from a very lofty level, can it come down all the way down? V'imkei muvan sheyesh bebechinas chashmal beis bechinas. So therefore, chashmal is two levels: the way it is in the source, and the way it comes down. Echad mitzad shoshai shugavaya made naila l'mayla min amida, because it's the level of bina. So from one side, the Alter Rebbe explained before, chashmal comes from the level of bina, which is infinitely greater than the midas. But beis, the second aspect of it is misadis pashtus e b'chinas chitzenis, b'chinas surufi esis. It comes into a form of letters, she'esis e madrega achrein sheb'chol yutzviras, because the lowest level, which is malchus, is a level of letters. What are letters? Letters conceal what you're trying to explain. For instance, you'd say somebody, you love them, and then you kiss them. Which one's much lower? The letters, the words that you say, whether it's seichel or me, it doesn't matter. When you say words, the words are limiting what the feeling is, because you have to lower the feeling into words.
They reveal it also.
Oh, they reveal it, but it's a lower level than the kiss. Or like the Rebbe Rashab told the Chassidish Shekush, is when he wrote a Maimer for the Friedrich Rebbe, he said that's the Chassidish Shekush, because the Rebbe puts his essence, the Rebbe explains, Rebbe explains that story. That said by Matan Torah, Anon Nafshik Sovas Yovis, Hashem, not only I wrote it and gave it, I wrote myself and gave myself. So when the Rebbe says a Maimer, writes a Maimer, he puts his essence into it. So even a kiss is external. As we see today, it doesn't mean anything.
In comparison to Maimer, it's
not in comparison to Maimer, but kiss doesn't mean anything. Stab him, kiss him. We talk about Maimer is the essence of the person. The essence of the person doesn't come out in a kiss, or even in words. I love you. Talk is cheap, like they say. So chashmal is this higher level. Vazel pish chashmal, chash and mol. Chash, like you said before, is a level of silent, right? Hidden. Chash means to be quiet. One level of chashmal is a level of silence, meaning it comes from a very lofty level. Because he said the siyog of chochma shtika, right? Now, ki avaya b'chochma, lochein ha-chochma, therefore bechinas bittul and shtika. Chochma versus bina, right, is bittul, koyachma, right? It's a yud, it's a dat, it's a nothing. That's the level of shtika. Siyog la-chochma shtika doesn't only mean when you're silent you sound smart, or somebody could think you're smart. It means actually the source of chochma is shtika, because shtika is bittul, you're silent, and chochma is the level of bittul. But now that's the level of chosh. But now mol, chashmal, is the level of bina. Umal loshen diber ve'izgalus. Zel mitzad bechinas habeis. That's the way the chashmal is being revealed down lower. Kshenaz levush lezun. To zar malchus like eisi shemal bishim animshul. Like letters. So even though now the letters are lower, but number one, that's the only way you could reveal it. But it's lower compared to the higher level. So he says Chashmal basically is Chochmah and Bina. The way it is in the source is the level of Chochmah, the way it is by itself, and then when it becomes revealed at the level of Bina, it comes into the Midas. Like Bina is the mother of the Midas. So Bina reveals itself in the Midas, and that's the level of Mo. Okay, that's the level of the Pareiches that he's speaking about. Okay, so he said, Vine, Zel Chashmal, Shebiyut Sviras, that's the level of Chashmal, which is in the 10 Sviras. There's tens of thousands of thousands of tens of thousands of tens of thousands of levels, and there's certain malachim yesh mem shem bechinas chashmal aydei kelim datzilas. Okay, skip the 5-6 lines. When the word by Matan Torah, it says choshes, everybody was silent. The world was silent when Hashem spoke. Pirish, what does it mean? HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke, it was chashais. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a level of Zah. Like we know, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the 6th Pirish Shechina's Malchus, Yichud Kudsha B'Richud Shechintei. He says, K'mei Pirish Kudsha B'Richud Shechintei, Shechintei Hainu Masher Sheichenim Establish B'Tachteinim. Kadosh, when you say Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kadosh means removed. Right? Not revealed as Shechina is the level that comes down. Sheichem B'Tachteinim. Kodesh, on the other hand, is completely removed. Ein Melech b'lo yamur b'chinas Sheichem mislabish ba'am. Masha'enke, so Shechina is the level that's revealed in the nation. Masha'enke midaisef. The other, the midas of the 6 Sfiras, so Hashem Agdula. Ein lam erech v'yachas la'am. That's the level of Kodesh. In other words, like this: there's a level of king that has absolutely nothing to do with the people. He's removed from the people. He's completely above the people. And then there's a level of the king that comes into the people. What level of the king, by the way, comes into the people? His speech. He orders things. King doesn't go to the nation. King sits in the palace, right? But Dvar Melech Shiltin, the pasuk says, a king rules with speech. So you have the essence of the king, which is completely not connected to the people, above and beyond the people. And then you have a level of the way the king talks. That's Chash and Mal also. And Vadiba Shietim Yakosh Baruch Hu is the level of Galu, which is Mal Michashmal. Right? The Mal is the talking of Chashmal. Vukshezun Bekeya Mosach. That's when Zun, this Mal breaks the barrier, okay, of the parsa between Atzilus and Bria, and then Atzilus comes down into Bria. Azai Malachim Choshes. Therefore, the Malachim in the lower world become completely bittul. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, it's not very simple, but in language it's simple. When Atzilus breaks through the curtain and comes into Bria, that great revelation silences the Malachim. They become bottle.
And they're not before?
Huh?
Before that they're not?
No, because the parsa, when the parsa covers, a very limited level of Atzilus comes into the Bria, much as the Malachim, Bria and Yetzirah, and they're able to handle it. But when it breaks through the parsa, then it doesn't. Then they can't handle it. And the Chassidus says, if there's 10 Jews in a room doing absolutely nothing, the Kedusha is so great that a Malach, if he comes into the room, is going to explode. He's going to platz. Now, it doesn't mean he's going to, What it means is, it's going to be the ultimate level of bittul. He won't be able to handle it.
So this is only the Torah mitzvahs?
Yep.
That's what we're talking about?
Well, he's not done yet.